think
Correct.
that the two are going to have to work together. So that's.
Well, then you all need to decide on the criteria first then. If that's, I think criteria and selection process. I think, I'm trying to think, have you ever done anything that was site specific and gone through like a whole selection process where they propose to you and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't think we have, but I think that Dave makes an excellent point, and that maybe today, we do have a little time after the meeting that we might be able to pop out and just start the process of looking at some locations. And then also we have, a long attachment that Laura included in today's materials with a lot of types of sculptures that we looked at in the past. And so since we have so many new members on the commission too, we can spend a little time today discussing, like narrowing it down a bit, and we can fill them in on discussions that we did have in the past about perhaps choosing something a little bit more realistic because we just did a modern piece. So I think we'll get everyone up to speed. Maybe we'll start looking at different artists, and maybe we can at least narrow it down somewhat, start looking at locations. So I think we should, that two-pronged approach we'll take for this meeting, and we'll start the process. And then, if we have a general idea of style and several locations that we like, then we should definitely get PTRC to meet up with us and start showing them what we're recommending anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
And also, don't we, is there a budget? I noticed that $2,400. Was it, did I read that correctly?
So the Art Commission's current budget for 2022 includes $14,180 for artist proposals, money paid to the artist, video, and plaque, which includes the extra $10,000 that has been rolled over for a couple of years now from council.
So that's the budget, 14,000?
Well, I would, I know, Kendall's like, wait a minute, what? That is, the lines portion of that is from the town, which is great. So we do normally also use some of our art account budget to sometimes add to it or match it or something. So Kendall, we need to talk about that. But as we look at some artists and we see, to the extent that you have some pricing there or we can figure it out, I think we haven't decided on an exact budget yet.
Correct, and the current Art Commission donation account is about $41,000, so there's some wiggle room there.
Absolutely.
And two, is there the option
okay.
to fundraise if we need to?
There is, depending on our timeline and what kind of fundraising we want to do. So since we do have a working session after this, we can also maybe delve into that a little bit more.
Great.
Because that session kind of has to do with our annual event and general fundraising anyway.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I would say if you all can just come to a little bit of consensus about generally how much you want to spend. Reminder that the sculpture outside in the front costs, I can't remember what the final cost of that was, around $50K. Is that what I remember?
60, I think. But.
So I think we need to make sure that, you guys are also thinking about scale. If you have a budget of around, I don't know, if you're thinking of a similar budget and you're thinking figural, those are small, they're going to naturally be smaller, bronzes and figural pieces that are in the more, stone, that kind of thing, they'll probably be smaller. They tend to be more expensive. But that's not necessarily, we'd also talked about Madeline Wiener's pieces, and those are probably in the $200,000 realm, those benches that are also figural. So yeah, it would probably be a good idea to review all the stuff that you've talked about in the past that was of interest, and kind of narrow it down for me so that we can, so I can do some research for you for the next meeting and present it to you.
Right, and just to remind everyone too that the piece in the front of this building, we did have larger funding from the town because we got a percentage of the cost of this building. So I don't think we're looking at that, quite that budget, because we only have the 10 from the town. Also, that piece, we needed to have it hold the spot and be large enough in front of the building. Whereas I think the thinking, but we'll find out as we all talk together, is that we want something more subtle more natural for the pond area. So we'll get into that a little more.
I have a question. With COVID, do artists get creative with maybe installments like that we could pay over time if we found something we loved?
Sorry, I didn't hear that question.
Oh, will artists be willing to do like an installment plan if we found something we loved that was over our budget?
It's probably a case-by-case basis. I don't know. It really depends on the artist and what their situation is. Probably, I would imagine.
And just to say that if you wanted to pay it over multiple years, that gets a little tricky with the city budget, so we'd have to look into that.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of, at what threshold would they need? Would they, do they need half of it and then half of it 2 years later? I don't know if you can do that in terms of your own funding.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So maybe Laura, you can just look at that a little bit on the town rules side, and we can keep that, as maybe a small possibility depending on the artist. Yeah.
I just generally, I'm sorry to interrupt, I just generally have never had great luck with the idea that more funding will come into a project, because there's just so many variables. So, there could be regime change, not regime change, but, like changes in your leadership and changes in, if COVID comes back, it will be probably taken out of your budget. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you don't want to put that on the artist necessarily. I mean, they're putting something in at risk if we don't have the funding. So I would personally, ethically prefer that we have all the funding in place before we actually install anything. That's just something to think about.
No, for sure. I think we all
makes
understand
sense.
that, yeah.
And another thing I wanted to make sure we discuss with Kendall is the March 10th PTRC meeting. And so that's the next PTRC meeting. If we wanted to get started talking with them right away, just in generalities, to discuss thoughts with you, Kendall, if you think that would be an appropriate way to start out.
Yeah, we could just do a quick, maybe me and somebody else who wants to come with me could just give them an update on what we're thinking. I don't think it should be something that I know you guys want to be in charge of selecting the sculpture, but I think it would be wise to involve them every step of the way, just so they feel invested in it and they feel like they're part of the discussion around it.
When is that meeting?
March 10th
March 10th.
at 5.
At 5:30.
5:30. So that's a Thursday. And then the other thing I think we wanted to check with on Kendall is that the idea to have 3 final pieces voted on by the public.
Oh, okay.
That was an idea we had. I don't know.
I think
We have to talk that over.
Yeah, maybe we'll see
Not quite ready for final, gotcha.
I definitely think we
Okay.
should talk about it.
Never mind.
I mean, you pick 3 sculptures that.
Well, there's ways that you can do it and message it that you are fine. You guys are in charge of making the final decision, but you want people to weigh in on 3 different sculptures, and it's it's advisory. And I think it's a great idea to get people's opinions about things, but I would also make sure that you message that ultimately the decision is the purview of your group.
Yeah.
Yep,
That makes sense.
sure.
But just in light of the survey, I mean, they're wanting transparency, they're wanting to, and to make them feel part of the process.
Anytime you open it up to the public, there's going to be the people that like one sculpture, and then they're going to complain if something else is selected. So if there's a way to do that and just, I don't know, it's just something to think about.
Could be a can of worms.
Was there a survey done or some information out that the public wanted a more natural piece out there rather than another modern
That was, I wouldn't say it was a survey, I would say it was some public comment we got
comment,
over the past many years from various quarters about, every time the Art Commission put up a more abstract piece, there would be the people who wanted a more realistic piece. And the last time I remember it happening was with this sculpture in front of City Hall, that there was some discussion about having some foxes or, something very realistic. And the Art Commission at the time said, well, this piece is really the one that fits with the building, but we have this new park that'll be here, that'll be the perfect place for a realistic piece. So it was, in my mind, I think of it as sort of, it's been kind of kicked down the road a little bit to have a realistic piece that at least some people in the community have expressed wanting.
We kind of almost didn't make an absolute promise, but kind of did with city council that we would look into a realistic
Well,
piece.
I think this
It
would
was
be
the
the best.
compromise option, I think.
Right, it
going
was.
forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Kendall?
I don't think so.
We have a work session after this, so we might have more answers for you at the next meeting.
Perfect. Actually, it would be great if you could send them to me prior to the next meeting, so if you need me to do any research and have something to present, I can do that.
Also, because there's this March 10th meeting coming up, because when is the next meeting? Not for another month at the earliest. Yeah, so we'll get you some feedback and time.
Yeah, even if it's just like literally, just bullet points of discussion points and any kind of consensus that you come to in terms of budget and criteria, Colorado artists, are we looking at regional artists, that kind of stuff, just so it can narrow it down, because the world of art is large, as you all know. So anything you can do to help me make some decisions about direction, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I guess we have our homework, right? Thank you so much, Kendall. I know you're under a lot of stress this morning, so we appreciate it.
I'm
Unless,
sorry,
Emily, do you
I
have
don't
any
have-
questions? Yeah.
I had a car go out because I hit a pothole so hard, and then my sink is not installed for the last 3 days, so it's crazy around here. So I appreciate you making accommodations for me.
Okay, super. I hope everything turns around.
Yeah. Good.
All right,
Thanks
thanks.
very much, everybody.
Thanks, Kendall.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Okay,
Kendall.
bye.
We've all had those days for sure.
I just want to make one other point about when we choose this art. I think we should pick an artist that is available to do all the video, storytelling that we want, because we haven't had that with other pieces. And this is kind of like our big, thing we're doing this last 3 years. So.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes, good point.
And can we add to these options? that-
Oh, absolutely.
we can-
Yeah,
okay.
it's completely,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Like I said with Kendall, I think we want to just at least coalesce around some general parameters.
Yeah.
Because that's what Kendall needs, and that's also what we
Right.
need to get
Okay.
the process going. But yes, anyone can feel free to propose any artist, and we'll,
Yeah, if any, just
Discuss
send
it.
me whatever artist or particular piece, particular artist, whatever you want to me, and I can add it to the list.
Okay.
also because in fairness, some of the ones that are attached are ones that we've looked at over and over, and actually we haven't chosen for different reasons.
Right.
So we're certainly open to adding to the list
Yeah.
of considered artists. So should we pop back now to the beginning of the agenda and keep going?
Well, I still had a couple more questions
Oh,
on
yes,
the
go
John Mead
ahead.
Park, but who wants to come to the March 10th PTRC meeting with Kendall to just start that collaboration with them?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm highly likely to be out of town that week. I have to go to New York.
I would go. I'm not quite sure on my schedule just yet.
Okay, do you want to check and get back to me?
And do we have a backup in case?
Yeah, I might be able to.
Okay.
I think.
Okay,
All
so
right,
Della and if
between
not
Della and
then
Dave, it sounds like we're
Perfect, thank you.
likely, and, if anything
Okay.
changes too, I'll let you guys know.
And then, did you guys want to set some just general ideas to go to PTRC with, or do you just want to present to PTRC? It's wide open, this is kind of what we're thinking, but we haven't made any decisions at all yet. How do you want to approach it?
I think we're going to work on it a bit at this meeting.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so let's just table that question.
Okay, I just wanted to say that when I did meet with them last time, I did tell them that, the cruise series was like kind of a side project, and that our main goal is working on a piece for the park. So they know that we're working on it, and so perhaps we could say, we want to look at those same spaces, and then it's just kind of introducing the idea again.
Yeah. And also perhaps making it clear what their role is and what our role is. I mean, I think you did that very well, heroically, but I think it could be reiterated.
And where the funding's coming from.
Yeah. During that meeting.
Sure, and just to clarify that even, since this is going to be, we're starting from scratch with the piece as opposed to the crew series where we already had the pieces.
Yeah.
And we are wanting to involve them in the process. So maybe decide amongst yourselves what that message would actually be
Exactly.
specifically.
What time is that meeting? That meeting's from what to what? The 10th?
5:30, and we don't have an end time for those meetings.
Okay. I'll check and I'll let you know.
One last thing, I think we should come to them like we hear them, all the complaints that they've had, that if we come to them, that we understand and we've digested all the things that they've said, and then now we're going forward looking for a piece that would, appeal to the larger public, so they feel heard.
Saying we're doing this.
Yes. So sorry, I'm just wondering, like, what order we do things in. So should we dive into that whole topic right now, or do we need to move through? That is our first item of unfinished business. Should we just at least approve the consent agenda?
Sure, yeah, get that
And
piece of business out of the way.
Just so that we're not completely discombobulated?
Yeah, sure, sounds
with
good.
the- with
Yep.
the- Okay. Don't want to finish the meeting and we didn't do something, so.
So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yeah, so I move to approve the consent agenda.
A second?
I second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously, thank you.
Okay. So actually, let's see, in this list. Yes, okay, so then the next item is the John Mead Park permanent sculpture. All right, so, so maybe we should give everyone some background, Dave, on what well, I guess we kind of discussed it, that
Yeah.
we really thought that the piece in front of this building should be more abstract and more modern because the building is a modern structure. And so, in fact, we have had not a lot, but we've had consistent, I should say, input from the public. They would also like to see some representational pieces. And so we dealt with that by sort of making it clear that our recommendation for this building was to go with something abstract for all the reasons we all agree on. And that sort of, we thought it was an opportunity that actually made sense to go with something more representational, which doesn't mean it needs to be utterly realistic, but just representational for the park. And then I think one thing that comes to mind for me immediately in terms of budget is actually the size of the piece. Because obviously when you're working with bronze, it's really expensive. There are other materials that we can consider. And if we're doing something life-size, it depends on what the life size is. For example, Dave and I were talking about this heron, and it is affordable to have a life-size heron within our budget, which will be that 14 plus whatever we decide to contribute from the art donation account.
It's 14,000. This is the one that we saw at Kathy Fingers. And it's 53 inches high, so it's with cattails, but it's a blue heron. And it's a really nice piece, very realistic, obviously. And that's why I brought up the site, because that would be more into the actual pond areas. And I think if you're driving by or walking by, until you get close, you're going to think it's real. and then you find out it's a sculpture. It's done very, very well. And it's $14,000, which is very much in our budget.
This is the exact piece that's in her garden?
Yeah.
Hers is a
and
little
I
bigger,
just-
I think, isn't it? Is hers a
Oh,
little
okay.
taller?
So
I don't know
we
if
wouldn't
can-
be buying it from
We're
her.
buying it from her.
No, it's
Okay.
one that is existing that the artist has on his website. There's a little frog at the bottom,
Yeah.
which is
Oh, that's a pretty good size.
really cute, and.
Wait, do we
yeah.
have a photo of this?
We're working on pulling it up over here too,
Okay.
so it
Yeah.
should show
Yeah,
on
if
your
you,
screen.
if you look up Jim Green, artist, and then go to sculptures,
Where is he from?
Hill City, South Dakota, so in the Black Hills.
Okay.
They'll pull it up, but that's, I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
And it's, yeah, it says bronze,
Yeah.
I'm looking
and it has the, yeah, 2 feet by about, like more or less life size for the heron, you know?
Yeah.
And it's got the little frog in the bottom,
And
which is
the
kind
the
of
blue
cute.
heron is very territorial, so you only see one in a pond area, and there's no marking difference between male and female. But it'll, any pond, like if there's the one in the pond here would keep coming back year after year after year, and they're almost prehistoric. They haven't changed in a million years. So it's just,
Would this guy keep the real
That's-
heron away?
That's what I was just thinking.
well, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
That's a good question.
Those
Although I
decoy-
don't know that I've seen a heron.
We do have a great blue that
you?
visits the pond that's further out, not this
Further out.
closer
Wow.
one, but usually he's at this further out pond, and he's actually, I'm calling it a he, I don't know. It usually hangs out along the edge where that dock is, close to where this might be placed, if you're looking at the same location as the cruise series. So I think this is a great option. I don't think it would keep
But not
the
for
real
that
heron
exact
away.
pond, right? 'Cause we
As
have other
long as
pond
you
here.
didn't, what's that?
But not for that exact pond, because that's the real one, where the real one comes?
I don't think there's any issue with it. I don't think it would keep a real heron away unless you were placing it right at the edge of the pond. I don't think it's going to be an
Yeah.
issue.
How long does he hang around?
They'll go into December before they migrate. And they should be coming back soon. They're not gone long. And they're fishers, so they'll take little fish, they'll take frogs, but then they'll actually go into other areas too. So,
So that frog is being,
I'm a
some
bird.
risky business going on there.
by the way.
Life into his hands.
They've come to a détente. Anyway, so this is just one that Dave and I were talking about, and certainly if we have a list of 3, then maybe it's one we would consider.
Right.
I like the idea of a heron. I don't know if I understand our request for realistic sculpture, but I wish it could be a little blended, a little more abstracted, you
Do you want to
know?
show your bunny? Because that's an example, I would
Can you
think.
pull up the Jim Bootish bronze bunnies?
Yeah, that's a great example of what.
That's what I'm saying.
kind
It's
of-
very figural, but it's
Yeah.
also more modern, so.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's fun because we have so many bunnies around here to see an abstract one.
Uh-huh.
Is he from Colorado?
Yeah, where is
Steph?
he from?
You know?
And how
I
much
I
is
think
is
so.
he?
I
I
feel
think
like
so,
his
too.
big presence here.
I think I've
does.
seen him between 12 and 20 for like the 10-foot
Oh,
one.
okay, so he's in our
Yeah,
budget.
Uh-huh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And
he's
there's,
got
he
lots
does
of
all
different
sizes.
sizes.
It's like
Yeah.
6 inches, 8 tenths, you know,
Yeah,
all the way
right, the
up.
whole range.
Yeah.
Our ex-mayor, what was her name? I can't think of her name.
bear, too.
I like those big
Laura
ears.
Christensen? Yeah.
Oh,
Is
that she has one?
Yeah, there's one in her,
There's
yeah.
one in her yard.
Yeah, if you go to images, there
There
it
it
is,
is.
yeah.
I like the bunnies.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
so
good.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
cute,
That's Chauncey.
yeah.
Oh.
He's
Well,
expensive.
no, it just
Oh, okay,
shows
yeah, yeah, for
the range,
For the
so-
sizes, yeah.
It's a big range.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
well, because it's.
I've
right-
seen them like really big,
bronze.
Well,
so,
they're
yeah. And actually,
very
they're in,
different sizes, for
in
sure.
Vail, they're in a gallery, I don't know what that street is, but there's a bunch of them
There's a
there.
bunch in a gallery.
Yeah.
If we go to size, I wonder if it gives us any pricing. Like, let's see what it says
I would
there.
think so.
like the 66, maybe? I wonder if that, 18, right? So
Oh,
that's
but
in our budget.
that's a good size.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
At
not too bad.
66 inches.
Yep.
So I mean, if everyone
And
thinks
they're
that's cute.
also
that-
in
that on our
lots of
list.
different positions. There's some that are laying down, some that are like tilted sideways. There's all different kind of positioning for the, some are straight up. Sometimes the ears are straight up or lopsided.
Right, so we can think about how visible we want it to be, for example, if, you know.
Or like popping out of the grass or something.
Would it work to buy two?
I was thinking the
Sure.
same, like it'd be fun to have a little
Sure.
It
pair.
wouldn't be such an isolated
Yeah, different sizes.
couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or
that'd
different
be cute.
positions.
yeah.
That would work
Maybe
if
you'll
they
do a
had
buy
to be
one, get one.
smaller.
Yeah, we
Right.
wish. I don't think it works that way.
Darn it, you could always try.
Right.
Buy two, get one free?
Yeah, let's see how much the 38-inch was if we did 166 and 138. So then it would be those two, 18 plus another 8 or something.
I don't think he has in different positions, though. I think they're all the same, the same standing position.
No, he
No,
does.
she's seen them in
the
Yeah,
gallery.
I have
Oh, you
seen
have?
them. Yep. They're in a
Oh, there.
gallery in Boulder, and then see some are
So
sitting.
here's Abby.
Okay, they do, okay.
It says here
I've
studio
always
is,
seen him when we used to have that art show downtown.
So for, just out of curiosity for Abby, can you go to the size options again? Like, yeah, maybe 29 inches, let's try that one. All right, about the same, about 8.
I like that so much better than the completely naturalistic.
he's a Colorado native, but his studio's in Chicago, so he's in Chicago now, but Colorado
I think
native.
he,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
he
yeah.
he ticks that box.
Well, I know he's in a couple galleries in Colorado.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
He's up in Vail, too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that just has the sort of, it appeals to children, it appeals to adults,
Adults,
to me,
yeah.
adults, and
And it's playful
It's-
in a way that the, Heron's more serious. So, I mean, that's why
yes.
Yeah.
I think coming up with a list of 3 is smart, because then we can really look at just different
Yeah.
approaches. And then we can recommend, the approach we want to take.
I do agree on the pair. I think if one was
Yeah.
kind of in that reclining and then the other one standing up,
That'd be
that would make
awesome.
a nice.
So, yes, would make sense.
I'm not sure how these would be secured, even the Blue Heron.
Well, I see some of the, in the pictures, some of them were in a cement base. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
I think that's for sure a question for Kendall, because
Yeah.
yes, we would absolutely have to have it, just like Kathy Finger does.
Yeah.
Have to
Yeah.
have some kind of
Right.
base that's screwed into, that can't be removed.
Yeah, because
and
those are
Right.
easy to.
Yeah, they go
pick up.
deep down, like he'll install a thing underneath to go deep down into the ground.
Yeah, so, yeah, excellent question for,
I'm greedy. I'd really like 3 and maybe get donations for the third.
3. No, we're going to 3, I think. Yeah, at least 2.
Well, actually, it's something we could add to.
Well, that's the other
If we didn't get them all
thing.
at one time.
That's an excellent idea.
Well, it would be cute to have, a pair like a mom and a dad, and then the next spring come with a little baby,
Little teddy babies.
Yes, as Sarah points out, rabbits do multiply, so.
I mean, the kids might like to see that, like, a new baby appears,
I also, on the list, but I love this, I love it. But on the list, that fish, there's like a picture of a little girl, it's kind of maybe too abstract, but like a fish with an open mouth, and there's a little girl playing on top of it. and
Oh, yeah.
That's really, that's cute.
Is that the stone one?
Yes, the stone
Yeah,
one.
they're really expensive.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they there's one down at the Confluence, in Confluence Park. They have a couple, 3 down there.
Do they?
And, yeah, I know I talked to Kendall about that before, and they're way up, yes.
Are they? It's so,
Yeah.
that's so cute. So,
That might be the,
I mean,
200,000
on the
range.
$100,000 range, yeah,
got it.
yeah. Yeah,
It's really
yeah, they're
clever.
excellent,
Beautiful.
they are. Well, we got 2 of 3,
Yeah, so maybe,
maybe.
unless, yeah, she wants to show everybody what we're talking about,
Oh.
but otherwise, we can go back to the list we have.
It's on, your packet, Laura. Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, all of these, they're
That's-
wonderful, but they are
yeah.
expensive. We've looked at them before.
Those are the ones actually at Confluence.
Uh-huh.
So good.
Okay. So yeah, Laura, why don't you pop back to the packet where you have all the images, and maybe we can just scroll through them and see what else catches people's eye, and then obviously, like as we said before, if anyone has any other ideas, we can keep working on this short list. It seems like we have maybe even 2 already that we like, so.
Do you want to give each of these and just the list, or just the images?
I thought you had the images. Why don't we go to the images first?
Yeah.
Because some we may say like, no, like, I know it's only one of many that they have, but, yeah, I thought like the bear, for example, we don't have bears around here, so I thought it was
Hope
too,
not, yeah.
too mountainous for us. And I don't know.
Hank
I
the
thought,
Tank.
yeah, nude figures, maybe not either for this particular location, and nothing super abstract.
Right.
Is that the same airport guy?
That looks like it, doesn't it? I don't know if it is,
Better than the airport.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
Searles might be out of our budget too, because we know his work is really pricey.
we actually had one of those offered to us, didn't we, at a lower rate? at one
I
time?
don't remember.
I
That was a little, you already had the Searles when I came on the commission, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, so just keep scrolling through slowly, if anyone wants to stop.
Go
just-
back to the abstract, not appropriate for this project, I don't think. I love this car.
I love it too.
Yeah, I love.
Oh, this
I like
part,
that too.
part
I
Morrison.
really love.
Colorful, happy,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, so happy, yeah, it's nice.
It'd be a tough sell to count.
It'd be a tough
Yeah,
sell.
yeah, I mean, not appropriate for here, but I think,
Right.
one day,
Keep one day, yeah.
maybe a borrowed.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
keep going. Is that who we just saw, Nancy, or? No, this is a different one.
It's a
Okay.
different, yeah.
Yeah, no, keep going. I think keep going.
It's a mangold.
Yeah, keep going.
I like the concept of this Joshua Wiener.
Right, because once again, it's
Yep.
Yeah.
recognizable as to what it is, but it's a more
Right.
modern take
Yeah,
on it.
I'd be curious to see more of his work.
Yeah, so why don't we give ourselves, maybe during our work session, we
Yep.
can quickly go on to his.
Yep.
Or we can go onto his website now if you want to see what else
Because it
there
is
is.
see-through, and I think people would like that, that they could see the landscape
Yeah, I
through it.
don't, yeah, if we can, yeah, thank you, Laura. See if there's anything else we can see. Yeah. Smaller works, maybe? I don't know. Those look like immense.
Oh, interesting.
Either that or maybe, I mean, this is the kind of thing that maybe we could ask Kendall if she knows this artist, or she can contact him to see if he does any commissions.
He's
And then
all
we-
over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is all over the place.
Yeah, we'll just
This is
make
not
note of
helping
it,
us.
maybe.
Yeah.
Ah, that looks familiar.
I'm looking at Wes.
Yes, because
Yeah.
since he's all over the place, it's not like it's a recognizable.
Those are so cute.
Those are hilarious. Very, very playful. But yeah, he does every kind of material too. It's like metal, stone. That is charming. So, I don't know, we can have him on our list and maybe talk to Kendall. Which ones we like. We like the open
Sure. Yeah,
metal,
which I don't see anything like it.
no,
I know.
bird, or the stone,
Should be,
stone caterpillar with stacked rock.
Oh, there it is. On the site.
There, yeah.
Yeah, scroll down. Does it have a name for that? What is that? Oh, yeah. I hope that's going to flood because those fish need some water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're-
strange place.
yes, location.
Yeah.
yes.
Who's this? Oh,
You'd
Joshua.
look over that.
Joshua
Okay, so
Wiener.
three.
Okay, anyway,
Yeah, I like that one.
yeah, let's keep scrolling, but that's interesting possibly. Keep
She's
track.
an absolute tremendous sculptor, but she all does all the,
Yeah, groups of
Yeah,
figures, yeah,
and she's local.
yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I get an urban feel from that,
Detroit.
yeah. I love, of course, Saito, and I do think it looks like branches, but I don't know if that's, if we want an animal for sure, and I know his stuff is not cheap, because I would like one for my own yard.
I love
And that hasn't happened.
Well, we had one of his.
It was on loan though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was that the, oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
loved that.
Yeah,
That was that-
Didn't Clausina
It
purchase
was over
that?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it.
Which one was it? The
Was it I don't remember that either, because I think that was before my time, but was it a circular thing like
It was on
this?
the corner. It was right out here on the corner for several years.
That was one of those not well-placed ones, because it was
Right.
in the flowers and everything,
Right.
and you couldn't really tell it was there unless you were up close. But it was on the corner
really
here at
blended
University.
in, so you really couldn't,
Yeah.
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 It was really pretty, though, if you did see it.
So it's, really, ticks the beauty box and everything, but maybe not the playful box, so, but just wanted to point out that, of course, I like this artist, it's beautiful.
I don't prefer a human figure.
I know, I kind of agree on that.
Yeah.
Something more like an animal or a tree, something natural. Yeah. And not too western, like that looks like the mountains, so.
Right.
Scary.
That's cool.
Yeah, but not for this
Not right now.
location. And these, I think, are, a
Too
little
busy.
too busy and too,
Dangerous.
too spiky.
well, it can be damaged, or just, like, you just see a temptation to, like, start bending those things, so.
What is that?
Guitar player?
Is it, I saw a horse there for a second, but now I see the guitar.
Yeah. it's a
Oh,
guitar.
I
Oh,
see.
he's playing the
Like
guitar.
turning side, yeah.
Oh, yeah, his head's
He's
down.
the,
Yeah.
he's the sculptor
That's
who
fun.
did Really.
Oh.
Yeah, the one we had out here,
Sure,
the,
sure, sure.
the,
Oh.
yeah.
That'd be fun near the amphitheater.
Kathy bought that one, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I have one of
You're
the
right,
small ones that I
amphitheater.
bought at the art show up in Loveland a couple of years back, too.
When we build our performance center.
Exactly, go back to him, maybe.
Take over the world over here.
Oh, looks familiar.
Looks familiar.
Yeah. Lovely.
Winner, winner.
Interesting.
Yeah, Ostermiller.
Kind of serious, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to click on
It's a
his
little-
link, just
Yeah,
to see
he's
if there's
excellent.
He's
anything
not
else?
playful.
He's not playful,
He's
yeah.
looking like he's ready to attack.
But just to see
But the
other,
animals, yeah,
other ones.
He's quite expensive,
There are a
too.
lot of
And he's
owls
quite
around.
expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had a pair duetting. A
Gosh,
giant
really?
one right off my driveway, talking to one in another yard.
Oh, that's a cool one there.
The owls, when they talk to each other, it's called duetting, and it was really, and I videoed it, and all of a sudden he stopped, I'm like, you're not gonna answer? And then he answered, so everyone was laughing at the video I posted, because they were, you could hear the two of them talking.
Oh, he
Oh,
did those.
the-
That's who did those, yeah.
In front of
By the museum, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I sort of just like that owl one.
Yeah,
It-
I like the
It looks a
owl
little
too.
bit more modern or something on the pedestal.
Because it's on the
how
pedestal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the owl too.
But
But
it
it's
does
not
look a little
cuddly.
creepy. I mean, it does
It's
look like
definitely not
Harry
cuddly.
Potter-ish.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. It's a little, yeah, especially
Little
if the eyes
mysterious.
light up red
It's a
at night.
barn owl. It's an owl that we don't have in Colorado.
Oh, and that's another, yeah,
right,
consideration.
next.
Okay, thank you, though. We just
Dave,
wanted
you
to
know
see.
your owls.
Yes.
I know, that's impressive.
It is.
I prefer an animal than that doesn't have added vegetation. Just,
Sorry?
I prefer an animal that doesn't have added vegetation.
Well said.
That looks like it's going to be small anyway.
Right. Someone would trip on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa. I like that.
That's, I can just say, but won't say any opinion, but that's a fiberglass horse that's hand painted with those, he calls them line-up riders, his icon.
His iconic,
cowboy on the right.
image. Yeah.
And then we literally drive it to Mako, and it gets a clear coat, so like a car. So can go outside and last for a long time.
It can?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What's the price on that? Is it-
I think it's about 30, somewhere in there.
Oh, really?
How big is it?
Life size.
Mm-hmm. That could be cool, standing in the grass at a distance.
And it could be different colors and, they're
I
fun.
love these. I just wonder, we have that other horse.
Yeah.
Does it get too horsey? Are we now on I mean, although the
Yeah.
horses
Yeah.
are good here, but
Yeah.
the Butterfield or
Oh,
the,
the Butterfield. of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, we have the Butterfield.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
But there is that corral over there. Isn't there a little horse thing over here? Like a,
Do you think
but I
people
love
would
these. I
be
think these are great.
tempted to kind of get on it, though, which we wouldn't really want?
What's that?
You
Oh,
think-
would people get on it? Yeah, I mean, for sure.
I would get on it.
I know, I want.
Yeah, I'm a little, yeah.
Yeah, for the
I
Instagram
kind
shot.
of, yeah.
Bring my own saddle.
It's actually kind of where they come from is, I guess cigar stores out here had horses out in front of
Oh,
them.
okay.
And so it's sort of that fantasy of wanting to jump up on that.
Like the steamboat one. There's a
Yeah.
steamboat outside of FM Light and Sons.
Is that what it, it's that, just
It's
wanting
this,
to
but yeah.
jump on them and, yep. Part of where these come from is that little fantasy. There's a fox.
This guy I love. I've seen his work.
yeah,
And
his stuff
the
is great.
big origami cranes, the big white
love
ones, the
those.
haired ones,
Oh,
one with the
yeah.
scissor and the crane. Like his
Yeah.
stuff is, I think it's beautiful.
They'd be pretty by the pond, the ones that are kind of
The
stacked
flying,
on top of each
there's
other.
one
Yeah.
of 3 that I saw in Santa Fe that was
Yeah.
really like just beautiful, and the
Yeah.
white was really nice against all the brown and the dark.
Doesn't,
As I say, does Kathy have one
I
of
think
these?
she has one. Yep. I think
Oh, she
that's-
does, yeah.
That
I
might
saw
be
it
on
the
her
tour.
list, because she
Yeah.
gave us a list of 3 at the end, and that might be. So do we want to, everyone familiar with this artist, or do we want to click
Yeah,
on
let's
it?
look on, yeah.
Click on his thing. Everyone's probably seen some of these.
But we could make note of it, like our kind of few that we're gonna look at afterward.
Oh, this art
These
is
are
so
great.
great.
Oh, I love the mouse. I love the bird.
Caterpillar.
Is he from Denver or from Colorado?
I've seen his work in Santa Fe, and I've seen one of those giant scissors with him on top. He's on Canyon Road in Santa Fe, so I don't,
Yeah.
I know he's somewhere desert-like,
Yeah.
but the herons are those herons? I
Like
don't
the
know what those are,
origami,
Dave,
yeah,
maybe.
these down here are great.
Yeah.
But the birds, the
He's
origami
a-
white birds, I think are just gorgeous.
Yeah, he's in Boulder too. He's in a gallery.
Oh, right. Smith Klein? Or,
Yeah.
Klein, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
right on Pearl, yeah.
Let's look
Yeah.
how pretty. Wait,
Yeah, look at
scroll
the
down.
flying piece, too.
Yeah.
Really, really pretty.
Wait, scroll down just a sec. Scroll up the other way. I love that little cage with the bird. But maybe not
Yeah.
appropriate, but.
Yeah, look a little delicate, and
Garden size,
I,
that's pretty, like a little grouping of them, that is pretty.
I could see
and I
that
guess we
being
should
a
just
garden.
consider about pointy bits, if it's,
True.
Yeah,
you know,
way lawsuits.
no, because I like it too. I'm just a little
Keep going.
concerned that there's a lot of things sticking out.
These birds are,
The other way.
these little birds are great,
Yeah.
like
I
on
like
the, on
those
the, on the
birds,
pedestal there,
Yeah.
on that piece of wood.
Yeah,
I wonder how much those
Flying
are.
piece, that's.
yeah, the
Could
garden stuff.
post
Well,
them
I like
along
the
the
dark
trail
brown
or
piece
something.
better, but sure.
Here's, keep
Oh my
going.
gosh, I have so many ideas.
I guess this is great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty, the lifeboat is
I
really
love
pretty.
that.
Okay, oh, no, maybe on the left there is, I thought we were on smaller works, but no.
The stone is, I mean.
Yeah, yes, and also it keeps the
Keeps it
The
away.
pointy-
Yeah.
But that, and that's something to consider, though, if we want people to be able to be near it, or we just want it to be something that you look at.
Oh, the bird on the ladder is cool.
Yeah, I think that might be in Boulder. I think I've seen that before. One of those.
Yeah, anyway, I just like the white birds. I think they're-
Yeah, yeah, maybe, looks like we can click on one of these. Maybe we can sort of go back to the top and just see if there's one
I
or
like
two.
that, the lovebirds, like,
Okay.
that one, lovebirds.
Yeah,
Yes.
see what that is.
Yeah, let's click on that, see if we have any information on size and price.
Like Jennifer box.
Yeah, this is not,
Is that his
Kevin.
wife?
Oh.
What's his name? Oh, Kevin.
Kevin.
Oh.
Oh. Maybe she does all the work.
maybe
He
they'll
doesn't.
let, yeah,
He
maybe.
just gets the checks.
Maybe her pricing is better.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
That is beautiful. Against the blue sky like that.
Really
It's
pretty.
Really pretty.
I could see that fitting in here with the style of this building and the white and
Yeah.
And the elementary school.
the birds.
Now look at the scale, there's it's twice the size, but maybe that's something that you can commission a smaller.
We can
Yeah.
pick up
Or
more
if it's
rock
just the
anyway.
stone that goes all the way up and it's the same price, get it huge. Put them all the way up there.
Is there, I wonder if there's any stone that we've pulled out of any of these projects? Any? No. No.
Not that was chunks of old.
No.
I do think though that like for at least kids' eye level or even human eye level, you're just seeing a big stone. So it is a very different feeling from the bunnies, for example, which is totally,
Right.
so it's just a thought. I like
Yeah.
it too, but I'm just saying like we should think about how we want the public to interact with it and maybe we'll get a better sense of that too when we start
Yeah.
walking around and
again, it'll be
thinking
where
we're.
it is, or, you know,
Where it
it's in a
is.
spot where you see it far away, that you'll always see it together and not in up close.
Exactly, how we want it to be
Yeah.
viewed. Is it something we're trying to have people drive by and see it, or is it something more intimate that when
Right.
you're walking
Right.
around
Yeah.
Yeah,
the pond,
it's further
you come
away.
upon it and, oh, look at this.
Yeah, it could be nice here where you're driving by and then you're kind of more at a level where you.
And it's
then the bunnies
protected.
could be in there,
It
yeah.
might be a little
I love this.
harder sell to the.
I kind of agree, but
But I think kids.
what kind of birds are those, would you say they were trying to
Well, I
represent?
think they have to be cranes.
Cranes.
Yeah.
Can we look at
Yeah.
another one to see if we have pricing maybe on another one that's from
Well,
the mail?
no, they don't have long legs, so no, they
Yeah.
need more of a.
But I do
Are
think
they
kids would
seagulls?
recognize
Yeah, that one's a
origami.
tiny one. Let's scroll
Okay.
to a bigger one again. Oh, that bird, see that blue bird? Sarah asked about that earlier. 60 by 28 by 9, yeah, but it doesn't say.
I don't think he's ridiculous in pricing. I mean, I know they're not free, but
Well-
I wasn't scared.
Well, it was during our work session, we could just give them a call in Boulder.
Crane or
And
compared to
it's
the
a little
bunny, which is so
shocking.
nicely done.
Yeah, but the color.
Yeah.
too.
Again, I-
During our work session, we could just call them in Boulder to see what their pricing is.
Yeah, or we'll just reach out to him and just
Right.
say, we're considering a piece, what's your range, what's your.
Yeah.
This, like the bunnies, I'd love to see like a couple of them,
We
side
don't
by
want to,
side.
yeah, we don't want to go through the gallery, we want to go through him.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
if we
Yes.
go through the gallery, we'll
They
be
get their
paying
cut.
twice as much, and
Yes.
we'll
Yeah.
never unwind that,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, I think we can move on, but we all seem to be interested, so he should go on the list as a possibility that we
And
could
perhaps it's
research.
something you could ask him, like, you know, I just heard the geese fly by, like, would you consider a origami goose, you know, or something that's more, you know, I don't know what his philosophy is with the cranes, but might be worth asking.
Okay, oh, and then these are the ones, are these this list are the ones that,
These are the ones that Kendall put together when the commission was first talking about
oh,
John
okay,
Mead Park.
Ostermiller, so we've already looked at his stuff.
We already looked at several of these. but-
Yeah, okay. Okay, why don't you keep scrolling down? Any of those we want to open up to have a look at?
If
I
we
like this
back
bunny.
up, there's one
Oh,
she
man.
commented on, which she thought was very nice work. I just-
Which one?
Where she says very nice work, I just would be curious as to what
Oh,
she's.
that Kelsey
I
Gull,
think she might have been in the
Guthrie?
packet, I mean, in the photos.
Yeah,
No.
okay, no, so you can go back. And then how about,
At the bottom, the bunny.
I'd like to see.
yeah, Mary Zimmerman, Paonia. Meyer Gardens.
To Wednesday.
I kind of liked your bunnies better.
Yeah.
Are there any others to look at? Because I don't think that one is her. Oh, yeah, actually, that's a picture from the actual garden. Maybe we have to look up her.
There,
Maybe we have to look
yeah.
up Mary Zimmerman.
There it's there, that's her.
Oh, it is her?
I think it's too cartoonish.
Yep.
Yeah. there's something
Yeah.
on it. It's-
Yeah, okay. So,
There might be more than one Mary Zimmerman.
Go back, yeah, good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we don't need to, we're good.
yeah,
Go
I
back
think,
to
yeah,
the
I think,
list.
I think we're more happy with our other,
Yep,
so far we have the heron, we have the bunnies, and we're interested in a little more information about Joshua Weiner and Kevin and Jennifer Box, right?
yeah.
That's sort of our short list so far.
Yeah.
What about the piece where she said gorgeous work?
Now, let's look at that too.
Smaller scale,
Yes,
A little too small.
a little too
yeah,
low to the ground, I think.
yeah.
It's pretty though, I'm not surprised she included it, but I don't think. Okay, so, oh, here we go. These are the five finger, okay, Jim Green, okay,
there's
so that's the
Kevin's
heron.
prices, yeah.
That's Jim Green and Kevin Box, okay, we also agree, those are interesting. And James Moore are the ones with bells, we passed by it in the list, I think that wasn't,
Yeah, no,
yeah. So, okay, so I think that was really, really helpful,
yeah.
because we do seem to like very similar
Yeah.
pieces.
Uh-huh.
And so maybe we can leave it at that. It's still open for any additional suggestions by any commissioner. We can ask, I can ask Kendall to look to maybe contact Kevin Box and,
Well, we do have a range for his pricing.
Yeah, which is great. So 12 to 20, that
Right.
way we can get those.
Yeah.
Jim
Get two.
Bush to the bunny.
oh, that's right. I put down bunnies, I just didn't put his name.
Jim, B-U-D-I-S-H.
Budish. Right, so I can tell Kendall, these are the ones that we're leaning towards as a group. We're still open to other ideas. And then maybe, just before we start our working session, we could just take a quick walk?
Yep.
To see if we, Laura, could you by any chance print us out that page that has the locations we thought about in the past?
Yeah, there was the ones that you suggested for crew. Was there more than that? We can do the whole
No,
map
I was just thinking of the
John's.
ones we suggested for crew, but,
Okay.
because I'm sure I thought we were always sort of interested in this area just to the right here, but maybe not. So if we walk out and we have that little map with ones we already suggested for crew, and then maybe we can add, or we can subtract, or we could, suggest, start thinking about locations. and
Emily has that map. She'll
have an
print
idea
and
of what we
then,
want it to look like.
Different place than the rabbits, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
need several locations with several ideas. Yeah.
I have the map that I can print for everyone of where the crew series was going to
That's
go. And I'm
exactly-
happy to walk out with everyone and give a little tour of the park too.
Great.
With some
That would be
ideas.
perfect. Thank you so much. Okay.
and then before we leave this item, I just want to bring it back to PTRC and see how we're going to integrate them, since you guys have started down the path, and when we're going to bring them in, how we're going to bring them in, how the March 10th meeting is going to go, all of those questions.
I think we might need to give some feedback to Kendall first. If we give her our shorter list and maybe some possible locations, And then maybe she can advise us as to whether we should already share some of those selections, or we should, I'm not exactly sure the answer to that question. What do you think?
I'd really recommend giving them as much information as you can up front about things you're considering, and that way you don't get further down the path and narrow down to 2 artists and they
Hate both of
really
them?
just like both of them.
Well, I think my concern, and I didn't say, I've said it, but when I was making my comment earlier, they really should have no curatorial opinion. You know, that's our job. Their job can say that would sink into the ground, or that would be dangerous, or that would be.
Or that would not enhance our park, though,
That would-
because they are considered with the park. That's the
True.
problem. There's a tension there, for
But
sure.
aren't we
The
going?
sink into the ground is really more of a staff mechanical, kind of part of it. It is their park, so to speak.
their
It's John Mead
park.
Park, and they're the Parks Commission. So I think for this particular one, you might have to be a little bit more collaborative.
Okay, so, and I think, we are going on their recommendation that it is more realistic, right? That was their complaint with the cruise series.
Well, that's something that I think is one of the questions that would be helpful to pose to make sure that they are on the same page with that. They had a lot of different concerns about the crew series that I don't know would have been fixed if it was something realistic. So I think bringing them the list of questions that is in your packets, I think there were a list of bullet points that was like more representative, or, do you want it to be family friendly? Are you aiming it more towards kids, more towards adults? What, the scale, those types of questions, I think might be helpful to ask them right off the bat. They might not have opinions that are that detailed, but then you've kind of put the question on the table for them. And if they don't have opinions, then, you can go forth and be creative in either direction. And I think because they're less experienced with art and with sculpture and with choosing art, showing them examples like what you all just went through of what you're thinking is really helpful,
Sure,
because
I understand that.
The short list can
The
help
short list.
steer them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the aesthetic we recommend.
I agree. I think the showing them the short list is a great idea.
yeah.
So perhaps after this work session and working with Kindle, like all the off-record stuff, then we come back and then we have a presentation for them, of maybe the few we're looking at, but that we need to have this work session first,
Yeah.
just so we can narrow it down.
And you
would-
don't, I want to make clear, I don't think there's any expectation for you all to be like, okay, this is our short list and this is it, so here PTRC, like, we're not trying to rush you and move that fast. It's really just to get them involved as soon in the process as possible, so that,
They feel that it's
so that they
collaborative
feel
on
like
this
you're
piece.
bringing them along, yeah.
We don't want a repeat of the cruise series experience for
Yes.
portion.
For anyone.
I just need to know, maybe I misunderstood, did they reject the location for the crew?
They did.
And what I understood, it was aesthetics.
In any park, period, which is why we avoided the park land and chose a grass verge that's part of city property specifically and not part of parks and trails.
I guess to me, the disconnect is that, we should, we should have probably a more collaborative relationship with them,
On this piece,
on this
because it's
piece
going in the park.
Into the park, I agree.
Need
But
a happy hour?
we are, but we are appointed to, bring our art expertise and we have that. We also want to enhance the park. That's why we are, and I feel like that understanding needs to be established, that we have that goal as well. I don't know.
Yes, and that maybe that since we are sort of stewards of the art that the town does own, that we approach it from a more holistic
Yeah,
point of view.
yes.
But we understand and respect that this is in a park, and so that's why, we especially want to collaborate with them on this piece or
Yeah.
something.
Is it completely off the board, or can we renegotiate it with them?
Sorry, what was the question?
Is it completely off the board, that location, or could we reconsider it with them, or get a better understanding from them, why? Or-
With the cruise series?
Yeah.
We
That's done.
have worked with them.
The city council
back
has
and forth.
voted on that.
I think we wasted a lot of our currency fighting for a piece that's very controversial, and so that needs to be where it is, and we need to move on from that.
It's a done.
Yeah, that will
Absolutely.
dredge up negative
Yeah.
reactions, I think,
I
given what
think-
Shanley went through.
But I think the locations are still on the table. It's
Yeah.
just they have.
A different piece altogether.
Different piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And would we be making that presentation at that March meeting? Is that? I
Well,
mean-
so that's, and we can change this if you guys need to kind of slow the process down. We had told them we were going to come back on March 10th to give them more information, but if that's not enough time, since packets for that meeting will go out this Friday.
Go ahead.
I'd just really encourage us to try and hit the March 10th
At least
date
a-
because e-bikes might be coming back.
Oh,
God
yeah,
help us
we don't
all.
want to be on the same meeting as e-bikes.
In April, so you don't want to be at that meeting. So, even if
Yes,
you
an-
just
an
presented them the
introduction to the process
information-
at a minimum.
Even just the information that you had today, like one picture from each artist, I can pull that from these packets and compile it. That's not a big deal. So, I mean, I think if you're comfortable, even just giving them a preview of, these are 4 artists that we're considering. It's not even a final shortlist, it's not, but just to start pulling them into this process and being like, this is where you, just even like a status update from the Art Commission, like, this is where we're at, this is what we just talked about at this meeting. It's not necessarily, let's make the next decision, but really just bringing them along as you start to consider your options.
Also, it would be, I think, a good idea to let them know how much money we have to work with, so that we're looking at maybe some pieces within what we have in our budget right now, and that we have more in our funds, so they kind of know that.
How it's going to be paid for, and they
Right.
feel comfortable. Like, we have 10 from the city, we have an art donation account, and we do our own fundraising. So
Yeah, I
we're
think-
going to work within our budget.
Yes, I think that would be very helpful.
Kind of
for
how
them,
we're
too.
choosing the art, budget, artist, realistic, all the criteria.
Right. And so I would say we can certainly use the photo of the cranes and the photo of the standing bunny. And then in our work session, we'll pick 2 other photos for you to include. We can pick one from Kevin Box and one from Josh Wiener. Probably Josh Wiener, it's going to be the open bird for the moment, right? So I guess I can tell you that one.
That was the big eagle with the
Oh, right, right.
white. yeah. I
Right,
think that's
with
the only one. Yeah.
that outlined.
Yeah.
Do you know which one that is? Yeah. And then for, would we like that Jennifer Box one, or do we want to look at some of the other ones? Hers was the one with the stone and the 2 cranes at the very top.
I love that
I
one.
like that.
It just just as an example. Now, that one is immense, so I guess you could just put a note that, this one happened to be that size, and you can see the size. It's almost twice the size of the man sitting next to it, so we're not necessarily,
Yeah, it could be a smaller.
it could be a
scale.
smaller, but just aesthetically what the work looks like.
Yeah.
And that's not a fixed list, but these are 4 that the Art Commission thought would be nice for the park. Okay, so should we move on then? And we'll just talk a little bit more about location and the working group? Okay. So the next item is open studios. Unless, yeah. You know what, I'm sorry, I'm going to backtrack for 1 second. The unfinished business, maybe we should just tick through that quickly, just to get an update? So Laura, the relocation of the cruise series, that hasn't been done yet, right? Because I haven't seen it out there.
Right, it's been weather dependent, which we haven't had a lot of luck with lately. so-
Right, that's true, the weather's
So
been
it's,
horrendous.
yeah, but it's being worked on though.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
But the artist is coming, right, to
That's the plan. We just have to pick a date when the artist is available and the parks crew is available, and then they're going to all come down together to actually do the relocation once we have some.
And Kendall's involved in that, right, to make
Right.
that, bring that all together. So I
Yep.
think she's got it under control,
awesome.
and we'll see when it comes. The Robert Mangold write-up, I know Laura did, and we gave her just a couple of a couple of comments to, so that's done, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I posted that on the website.
Yeah. We don't actually have Kendall with us, so maybe we'll just move to the next time, the question about whether or not she talked to Revan about the fading paint on the Windsong. I mean, I'm kind of skeptical that they're going to be able to do anything about that, but I think, I agree with you that they should know
They should
that it's happened very quickly, because that was being stored in a studio since the 80s or whatever, and it's faded like immediately, so, so we'll save that for our next meeting. Oh, yes, it says that exactly here. Kendall will communicate with Revan. And was there any follow-up on insurance? It's written down here. Della asked for some more details. Do you recall?
Laura and I still, I know you left me a message, and so we just.
I did. Yeah,
'cause
we
were
wanted to
talk-
just
talk
talk about
other stuff.
So we'll connect about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Talking
so that's in
about
process.
what our insurance actually covers, and then also, if there was a sculpture that was of considerable value that was proposed for the loan, like if there was a rider that would need to be taken out, like is all that, possible.
Okay. So that's,
Yeah.
All righty. Our goals we're going to discuss in the working session. Okay, I think unless anyone has anything else about those items, let's go to the open studios, because that appears in both places anyway, so it's on our unfinished business. Let's see, project brief. Can you, oh, there it is, open studios. Right. Shelley, did you have any opportunity to talk to anyone yet?
Yes, so I sent out an email early last week to all the artists on the list. And I only got responses back from Sarah, Kristen, Gay, and Susan Cooper. I was able to talk to Corrine, I think Sexton, at a party. She seems very willing to do something. No one else has responded to me, but I think they probably saw it, but that's kind of the intro, and then later it could be a call, and then, at least they know what we're thinking, and they just haven't had a chance to get back to us.
Yeah. And so to tie into this, I got a call 4 days ago from Amy Maurer, who runs Greenwood Village Open Studios. So they've been doing this for years, and they have along that dirt road across from Glenmore. There's a bunch of artists that actually have studios down there, and they conveniently live near each other. So I've heard of this event. I haven't actually gone to it, but it's, I think it's oil painters, there's jewelry, there's sculpture, so kind of various things that gets a lot of attraction. And she reached out to me wondering if we wanted to bring the villages together to, either or just kind of coordinate it. Their event is scheduled for September 11th. I don't know if it's 2 days or 1 day, but those artists would be interested in teaming up with us if we wanted to do, just so people aren't driving all over. She said when they branched out and you have to go to everyone's house, it does, the participation isn't as much as when you group in two different areas.
Or there's some attrition, right?
Yeah, so it's sort of, they'll be doing their thing, we could be doing our thing somewhere if Cherry Hills kind of got it all together. So that would be something we could talk about after.
Would we bring the artists to the same?
That's what we should talk about. Is it independent studios, or do we all want to set up a few pieces around either in these buildings? Do we have access to these buildings, or tents outside? Or, we can kind of really think about this.
I feel like part of the interest is going into the studio.
Except like mine, which is in my basement, and it's so
still
creepy.
Is fabulous.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I get it if you
Yeah.
have like a real studio, but I'm also okay renting a tent and bringing my work out of that because it's just sort of a mess, but I
I
don't know.
think some, like Evergreen, when they do theirs, which they've done for years and years and years, and you drive all around the area, and of course, it's a beautiful area, so part of it's the drives.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I think certainly, you're not into that, they may set up in the garage or
Yeah.
patio areas at their house and
Yeah.
not actually
And I
get
have
into
plenty of
their
that too,
studios.
yeah, so.
But they don't have to
it's- I mean,
travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Because
do
I
it,
feel like that turns more into like an art fair
right.
rather than a
right,
studio.
True,
Right.
true.
And I guess where's the interest? Do people want to go into everybody's different
Right.
house? Or do they want to see them all together? Or do we do, one piece from all the artists here that are in the open studios? Then if you're interested in their work, you go to
That's
their
a good
studio.
idea.
I mean,
Or
there's
we haven't
room.
talked about our annual event, but maybe they are just two separate things. One is the studio visit, and then in conjunction with our annual event, whatever we end up doing, we could have some artists bring their work
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the event
And I mean, Shenley, I
as a
think,
like meet our local artist kind of thing, and then what other things we're planning for that.
I mean, your list already, I think, is enough. Like,
It's pretty
Well,
good.
so, I was hoping for more responses, that's why I didn't send my email to Laura to send to all of you guys. But, I mean, what I kind of threw out some ideas to them. I was saying, depending on where each artist has their studio, we could do a multiple studio progressive tour, like 3, like if they live in Old Cherry Hills Village, that there could be 3, and then that's like every Thursday night, kind of like in Rhino, So every Thursday night, or one Thursday a month, and then it would be, another 3 artists over in Devonshire or something. And then, or that it could be 1 per night, because who knows, we might only have 3 artists that can do it. And then it would be more like we would have drinks and appetizers there, funded by us and maybe the artists, like how Sarah helped a little bit, because they might make sales. And then it would be to go into their home or into their studio, so people can kind of see the process and see their brushes and see everything. Just kind of makes them feel like they're a part of the process. So that's what I kind of proposed.
So if we did a couple in one night, are they driving separately to the places or different? Or
Right.
are they getting,
Yeah.
are we getting a bus?
No.
No,
I
they would
think
drive
people
from
would
place
just
to place. I mean,
Okay.
have you done the art walk in Rhino or on Santa Fe? Yeah, so then you go on Thursday, and then you have a map of it, and then you go to however many you want to go to.
Okay, yeah.
And so we would only have like 3,
But those are more walkable, so the only thing is if we start bringing in like alcohol or whatever, and then we're driving all through I mean, I don't know, I just.
Yeah,
And I just say if there's alcohol, we need a permit.
yeah, and if, we don't have to have alcohol, we can just have drinks and nibbles.
Parking is a consideration too.
it's like a tour of homes. I mean, that was I don't, maybe that's a southern thing, but, I mean, in Atlanta, that was huge. Every year, you 10 houses, and you went to people's houses.
Yeah, we did that in Dallas too. People would come in
Dallas,
and they just want to see your artwork.
Yeah.
So then we'd invite them in, and then they'd come see your artwork, and then you serve them some drinks.
Yep. And then, you can add Duke on your list. I don't know if
Oh, I
you-
added Duke.
Okay,
I
good.
have all the list of artists, I sent it to all the list of artists. The one that we have, the artists in
Yeah.
the village.
I don't know if
I think he's on there.
He is on
He
there.
is on there,
Did you
yeah.
send it to him? I missed it.
Did he respond?
No.
I don't know.
That's Della.
But I don't know if I saw it. So.
I actually didn't get one either.
Well,
Only
guess what?
from you, only
Right.
forwarded from you.
No, your information is wrong on
Oh,
the
it is?
sheet, but I just forwarded it to you guys because I sent it to each artist. I wanted to send it to you guys separately because you're part of the inner sanctum. I want you to get the,
The chosen few.
Yeah. But you can add him to as a yes. I can say that.
And I know that Cora Sexton does have a nice studio, so I'm happy that she
Yeah.
responded. She's someone I reached out to earlier in the year to get her on the list, after having seen a nice article of hers in some other magazine, so
Good.
thank you, Shenley. I think
know,
that's
yeah.
underway, and maybe you could just, give us a list of what you have so far, and, it can always be resent.
yeah, I was just going to see what we had for Duke. We'll check.
Okay. Whatever, yes.
Okay, great, let's move on, Laura, once you're done with your notes. Oh, yeah, you know what, stop here one second, at the list, yeah, Sarah, while you're here, why don't you just look at it?
I've corrected it a couple times. Can you go
Yeah, I don't see,
down a little bit? up, down, up, up. I'm just towards my.
There it is.
So yeah, no, that's all. Oh, my phone number's wrong. Yeah.
And your email.
No, that's right.
Don't you have an H at the end of your name?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, like an extra H.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And so, yeah, I know you guys have my phone.
Okay, great. So get that corrected. I guess, Instagram account.
Thankfully, Emily had time, and she set up an Instagram account for you guys.
Thank you, Emily. You're the best.
You're welcome. So I did just have some questions for the commission since I'm jumping into this with you all for the first time. Mostly that the overall goal, just making sure I'm on the same page, is to just increase folks' engagement with the Art Commission, knowing that the Art Commission exists, which is always sometimes a struggle for things going on in parks too. So making sure we're on the same page with that. And then Laura and I were talking, and we can't as a city promote events that other organizations are holding. Basically because we would get into a situation where, we're promoting one nonprofit over another nonprofit, and it becomes kind of a conflict of interest situation.
And we
Go
do
ahead.
get those requests a lot for different organizations, so we just have a blanket policy just for everybody that we can't. So when you guys were suggesting promoting Denver Art Museum stuff, and it didn't click for me at the time at the last meeting, so I apologize for that, but we wouldn't be able to do that.
But we can do things like, I'm thinking we start the Instagram account. Right now, I just put, you can see in the screenshot, it's Art and CHV, and I put a picture of the Butterfield across the street, just to have something on there as we start out. But to keep it topical, going through and adding photos of each of the watercolors that we have on display right now, and tagging the artists if they have an Instagram to start to build a following. If you all have Instagram, please go follow the account, because that will help.
I'm following you now. I'm your one
Straight
follower.
away.
And yeah, and then, so once that will take a little bit of time. I'll try and post one, I'll have to figure out, I don't know how many there are actually, one every few days or once a week, so that we can get them all done before May 31st, before the show ends. But then following the end of May, obviously open to suggestions about what you'd like to post on there, how you'd like to promote everything, if you wanted to do a series of all the sculptures through the seasons or something like that, just to keep it going, so.
No, thank you, and I think that's right. We should all think of, can't just leave it to Emily here. We need to think of content that we think will be interesting, and so that we share the burden of maintaining the account, so to speak. So thank you so much. That's great. Yeah, we have 3 followers. Woohoo! After this, everyone else can add themselves if they follow Instagram. 7 followers. Oh, it's ticking up. Great. Okay, so that's wonderful. Getting that started, getting that going. That's
Get
we're-
off of Wi-Fi.
we're modernizing.
Use our phone power, special powers.
Okay.
Yeah, if we turn our-
Next item is the next art show.
Emily, do you want me to take photographs of the watercolors and for the Instagram?
If you could, I would
I'll do that.
very much appreciate it. That
Okay.
would be awesome.
Yeah, all right, I'll do that. And then I'll have to send them to you so you can post them, right? Okay.
Thank you, Sarah. That's great. Okay, any updates on the art show, Laura? Have we sold a couple pieces, or what, how do we?
Oh,
I sold one.
so Kathy Finger offered to purchase
Oh,
one
that's
and
right.
donate it to the city to hang on the staff side, the way that she did with the photography exhibit. So that was very nice and generous of her. So that'll be coming to you as an official donation application at a future meeting.
Nice. Do you remember which one?
She had staff, she's allowing staff to pick, so we're doing like a vote right now. So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah. So, and she had, a price limit and everything. She said, not the $5,000 ones. Okay, that's fair. So yeah, we're working on that. So that'll come to you officially
Okay, so
later.
you'll present that to us.
I
Perfect.
don't, if anyone else has sold a painting, they haven't told me about it, I think, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any.
Yeah, there was one,
Because we do get our small
Just-
percentage, right?
Just mine.
there was
This
one that,
I
right,
sold one,
yours
yeah.
sold, and then there was one that, where someone asked for the artist's information. I don't know if it actually sold, but,
Okay,
so, yeah, we have had a couple people come in and look at
yeah.
the show.
Okay.
And then just going back to the last meeting when we were talking about the next art show and having a kids art show, there was some discussion of allowing different mediums and maybe some kind of sculpture-y type things. And I just want to make sure that you all know we don't have a lot of space to display that during normal business hours, and just confirm that that was going to be only for the reception, not for the whole
Right,
show.
because then
Is
we
that
would
right?
put them out here, for example.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page about that. And then this was my long list of questions that I came up with for the next steps. And this is sort of with a view to writing up the call of entries article for the next issue of the Crier.
And we do have limited space. So
Well,
we should really think
size.
about the age range.
Yeah, and also we could do like a miniature show or something, so that way we could fit more pieces. Is that what you're?
Oh, size restriction.
Yeah, size restriction, and just like make a miniatures, kids miniatures art display or something.
Right.
Or art show. Because then you can, the way that hanging system is, you could probably put 4 or 5 miniatures on that. We'd have to buy more hooks, I think, more sliding hooks.
We might have a bag of them somewhere, I'd have to check.
But
Yeah.
just in case.
Okay, should we just go through the questions quickly, maybe? Get some people's input. So artist age, do we want to go include all the elementary years? So 5 to 18, or?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, that's a pretty wide range.
It's a pretty wide range,
Yeah,
but
That's gonna be
then,
hard to judge.
Divided by age group.
I'd rather do like middle school up to middle school and high school, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Then it's a little more
I think
experienced
so,
and,
too.
yeah.
yeah, there's a couple of issues here, isn't there? There is,
Well-
if we want to get
no,
people excited in town, who gets more excited than the parents of little children? So we could do sort of a competitive submission where we say we can take 10 pieces from this age group and 10 pieces from that age group and 10 you know what I mean? So that we're not overloaded with every 5-year-old's drawing of a flower, but we can say submit your art, and then we'll pick the top 10 from each, or I don't know what number.
Yeah.
So we could do a 5 to 8 and a 8 to 12 and a 12 to 18, or I don't know,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
3 age categories.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah.
just say, submit your piece, and it'll be either selected or returned to you.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, no submissions by no one
The
related to.
second one, sorry, I do not mean to call out Sarah on this. It was just something that came up from the last one, so sorry, but just an idea.
Yes, yeah.
So that's
So
fine,
what-
right?
so
Oh,
call
that's
out there
just
for
the
what?
second item, no submissions by anyone related to a
Oh,
commissioner. Just to be
okay.
completely
Yes.
independent.
Was that an issue? I
There
mean, was
was-
that a rule the last?
We just wondered with that one little kid asking to see the votes.
That there was some sour grapes there.
But it's just, we were talking about it, and we feel like that's kind of more of a general,
Yeah.
just for the perception
Yes,
of it.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't know what was,
Yeah, where that came
Sorry.
from. Yeah, where that came from.
yeah.
Yeah, so we can think about that, and we don't have to say for sure, or we could say submission allowed, but if are we doing prizes again, then maybe anyone related to the commissioners.
Yeah.
I know your daughter's so talented, but it will not be considered for the prizes.
Right,
So that she
right.
could still submit,
Yeah, that's fine.
However you guys want to do it, I just wanted to bring it up as a,
so,
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Because I hate to exclude anyone in town, like,
Totally.
just because,
No, that's all right.
you know,
That's-
mom's on the commission, it seems a little harsh, but, so,
I think it's a great way to handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so how about everyone's allowed to submit, but, anyone related to the commissioners will not be considered for a prize,
Right.
so that we're fair. I agree, shouldn't we have them do something for the show? The art pre-existing, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, especially for a high school, maybe not pre-existing, but also hasn't been in another show and already been awarded something, not re-entering a piece that's already received an award.
Or something, I agree with that, or also, but also maybe something created within the last 6 months or the last,
Yeah.
because they could have done like a beautiful flower for their art class.
Right.
And you might want to
Yeah.
include it,
Like
yeah.
completed within the last year?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
and that
A lot
hasn't
of
been in
shows do
another
that.
show,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Just those two restrictions.
Right.
Completed in the last 12 months and hasn't already been shown in another
I'd like
show.
to keep it unrelated to the schools. I mean, it's outside of the school classroom.
Well, if it pertains to the theme, I think that's fair, right? If we have a theme.
And the way kids are so busy these days, sometimes that's that's when they produce their art.
Yeah.
So I would feel a little bit
Yeah.
concerned about
But it would
restricting.
have to be to the theme, whatever we choose.
And also, I wouldn't want to limit the size.
Can we go back to just the pre-existing though first? So you said the last year, the last 6 months,
Yeah,
the last 4
12
months?
Last 12 months
12 months,
and
okay.
not already
And-
been shown in another art.
Not in another art show at all?
Yeah, not in another art show.
Okay.
That's reasonable?
And if the 5-year-old created one when they were 4, is that okay? Since we have an age limit. That doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right?
Yes.
I
We want
guess.
them to be this age for when they
We're going
submit?
to select.
Because we're going to select
Yeah.
anyway, so yes, they can submit it, and
Okay.
we're going to be selecting a certain number anyway, so everyone can participate if they want to. Doesn't mean that their art's going to be in the show,
Okay.
right? Well, yeah. And I guess that's how we could handle size limit, is also allow people to submit whatever size, but we're going to select what we have room to show.
Right.
That's-
But I
Right.
wouldn't want-
That
I'd love to
gets-
see what they come
yeah.
up with without putting limits on the size. I can't imagine they're going to be difficult to manage, but I just don't like a lot of tiny little things.
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of kids' art. I don't ever see it being really humongous.
Right,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So cute. Yeah, I,
yeah, I don't think it's going to be life size.
right.
Yeah.
And if it is, like, if it is, and it's fabulous, we find a way to display
Yeah, I mean, we
it.
had 2 large
Yeah.
ones on
Yeah.
easels, so if it's fabulous, we put it on an
Yeah.
easel or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Okay, so we agreed we'll allow any size,
Yeah, yeah.
but of course, it's our discretion to choose what's in the show anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll handle it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Firm submission deadline date. We of course should always have one, but I know we did extend
we
it last time a
extended it.
couple of times,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I think it depends on what the response is. and,
Totally.
You know, because sometimes, like Della had a couple artists she knew of late, I think. If you
Dropped it
know.
off that day, I think.
Yeah, so. I
And
think
she
we-
won.
We'll
And
put
she
a
won.
date, but be flexible maybe. Submissions.
And maybe I missed it, though. Have we picked a date for the show yet? Are we still thinking same as last year?
I
I think
don't know.
you guys discussed last time having a submission date in like October.
Okay, yeah.
And then
'cause the
having an early
show
November
is-
show again?
Yeah, November.
So I can just pick a date in October if you want.
What's that?
Just pick a random date in October and
Yeah.
we'll see how many we get by
So
then.
when's the show date?
Do you want to do, last time we did it the first Wednesday in November, I believe.
And we want to
So-
avoid voting, so that's Tuesday, and we want to avoid Kristen's art show. So if we can,
So the first Wednesday in November would be November 2nd.
That's my birthday.
okay, so we should avoid that
That's
then.
fine, we can do it. You just have to make, you should make sure there's a cake, that's all.
Should we do it maybe the week after voting, or?
Actually, the voting, okay, I think this is right. Voting would not be on November 1st. It would, Election Day is November 8th.
Election day is November 8th.
Oh,
It's-
okay,
yeah.
so then, yeah, we'll go for
It's the
the,
first Tuesday after the first Monday. So it's
Because if the first day of, if the first Tuesday falls on the 1st, it's got to be the next.
it's got to be the next, yes, because it's, okay. So it's up to you, Della, if you, are
I'm
you
fine.
sure? I mean, honestly.
I just want it to be sung to and have cake. And we're good.
Okay.
Okay, so November 2nd will be our reception. So I guess and then how long are you guys going to need to pick what actually gets in the show?
I think some artists need time to frame, right? Sometimes they don't frame it unless they know it's going into a show. So time for framing, I'd say maybe 2 weeks before.
And, I have a question on that, because we're talking about kids, so they're not going to frame their art.
Well, their parents will frame it, I mean, this should be framed, right?
I'm not sure how else we would hang it if
It
it's
can
not
be
framed.
mounted.
Or mounted, whatever, on some sort of,
Should we put that in there, that it has to be, in this format, like hangable by either?
Yeah.
At least mounted on a heavy,
yeah, that's the one thing that we
Wire.
didn't put in our submit, or the call for entries, was the framing format.
Yeah.
Because one of the pieces didn't have anything on the back to hang it. So I don't know if the
Yeah,
D-ring or.
Ready to hang, or,
Yeah.
framed or otherwise
Right.
ready to hang.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we say it has to be ready to hang
Something to
if
that frames just don't hold.
accepted?
Well, it has to have something that we can actually hang onto those hooks.
Mountable.
So a wire, it has to have a wire, I think.
Yeah.
A wire is really
go
the
onto
easiest. I
those
mean, you could
hooks.
do 2 hooks, but then you're kind of trying to,
Yeah, yeah.
but just a wire is, I think,
Now,
the easiest.
Yeah, but I think we need, they don't know our hanging system, so I think we need to be.
I think we need to
But are we
specify.
bound by our hanging system, or can we?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Two hooks work, I mean, if they're 2 D-rings on the back of a frame, we can hang that.
2 D-rings, yeah,
Yeah.
those will work, yeah, yeah. So maybe we say wire with
With
D-rings.
With D-rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be submitted in a
'Cause if
hangable,
it's on a wooden frame even.
or how about, if selected for the show, that the artist is responsible for
Framing.
putting it in a hangable form, or I don't know
Yeah,
what to
it's just-
say.
It usually says.
Or should we have them
framing
submit it that way?
requirement is D-rings with a wire, and then we can use the wire or the D-rings, right? The
Okay.
D-rings.
Are we accepting three-dimensional work? Does it have to be all flat, hangable?
That's a good question.
Well, Laura mentioned that specifically before. We can't put much stuff in that main hallway, so anything
Really,
like sculpture
anything. We
is
have
only going to
court
be in the
For
reception.
business, so it'll only be for the reception.
And we'll see how much work comes in. I mean, we might be looking at 5 artists and we'll want more, We might want to have a 3-dimensional thing just for the night of the event.
What about, my grandsons use 3D printers.
Yeah,
One of my favorite Denver artists uses 3D, that's
Yeah.
what she uses, yeah.
yeah.
Heck, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, just because of all these variables, that maybe the first Monday in October, the 3rd, is our submission date.
Yes, so that we can work with them if they.
We have all
yeah,
month to figure everything else out.
Yeah,
Yeah. And maybe we say something simple like that, I don't know what the proper word is. All pictures or whatever are hangable with a wire and D-rings and
But that's only if they're accepted.
sculpture. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't want people not to submit because because who's doing this? The parents. Like, oh my God, I have to frame it and I have to do this and I have to do that. On the other hand, I don't want it to be difficult for us. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, it's a-
if all these, just stacks of papers come in, with little drawings on whatever from all these 5-year-olds on cardboard paper.
And are we asking for submissions just an a picture of it, or do we want them to actually bring in the physical thing?
I think the actual art.
I think the actual art.
The actual art,
Yeah, so we can evaluate it.
They need to be display ready. For the
If it's
meeting.
accepted, right? So that's what, do we?
I mean, because you'd hate for,
Yeah, didn't go to all the trouble.
yeah, and then we say, no, thank you.
yeah.
Maybe
right.
once maybe that would alleviate some of the.
Maybe as they come in, that, let's say we pick 24, then we can evaluate, do we have sleeves that they put that piece of artwork? We maybe advise them how they could make it mountable. I mean, if it's only like 20 to 30 or even a dozen pieces, we could help them figure out the best way to mount it.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah, and there's display frames or even just glass with little hooks on it at Hobby Lobby,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Michael's or
really
whatever.
not.
Yeah.
So,
Right, I mean, we could even provide that. I just want, parents, like, sometimes
Yeah.
they won't even submit it, and then we
Yeah.
don't get to see it.
that's what I'm worried about. So maybe we just
So I think you submit it if accepted.
submit it, and then we have a little sentence that says,
Presentation, yeah,
if it
hang
accepted
ready.
for the show,
Yeah.
that we'll contact them with suggestions for how to
Yeah.
make it hangable.
Yeah.
So we're going to discourage non-wall art and sculptures, or three-dimensional expression.
We actually haven't talked about that bit yet. We're just still talking about the ones that are hanging. So do we want to allow the
I think if we
3D?
don't say that it has to be this, we'll just see what comes in. And if it's fantastic, we figure out a pedestal for it or whatever, if it's a sculpture. I don't think it's a medium a lot of kids really like go too far into, unless they're in a specific class, but.
So I guess the bottom line is, when we describe the call for the art, do we include sculpture specifically, or are we silent on it, or
Or we just say art of any medium, here's your prompt.
any medium?
Any medium, any
Art
size.
show, art show.
Art show, any medium, and just see what comes.
See what shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even one of those tables we could pull out.
Oh, yeah,
and put-
exactly, and put a whole
Yeah.
line of,
Yeah.
with the,
10 sculptures, or,
Yeah,
whatever.
if those come in.
Yeah.
So Emily had a good question. If we had to extend the deadline a couple times last time, if we wouldn't really be giving ourselves room because of all the mounting issues with this one necessarily, do we want to make the deadline in September? What do you guys think? Move it up a little bit to give ourselves time to
Yeah.
My
try
other,
to.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, my other thought is just that, especially because it's a kids one, it's kind of when you're getting back into the rhythm of being in school and you're kind of coming back home and all of that. So people might be more inclined to hit the September deadline than October, but then you do have the wiggle room to extend it, and then you're not extending it and trying to choose, and then you have 2 weeks until the show and giving it back to the parent and having them frame it, or us figuring it out.
Whatever you guys think is better, just a
so
suggestion.
September 15th, or September?
September, yeah, September.
Later in September.
Yeah.
Later in September, like Friday, September 23rd, or?
Yeah, maybe a late.
Or Monday, the 19th.
Yeah, 23rd is good. I think September's so busy.
I know, how about October?
Do you want to stay with October and just not really
And just have it be a firm deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, that's my vote. Stick with October and just have a firm deadline.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Okay.
And it'll be in the crier, and it'll be on our Instagram account, and we can
Absolutely.
inform the schools specifically,
Yeah.
make sure they are aware of the show, and
Yeah. So that begs the question, if a kid goes to CHVE or Kent, but they don't live in Cherry Hills Village, can they submit?
Oh.
How do you want the schools?
Like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Is
Della.
this outside of the school, or, because this is going to put pressure on teachers at that part of the year to feel a commitment to get involved. But
I think it's just
do we
Cherry
want
Hills
just independent
kids.
art?
yeah,
work
Cherry
from-
Hills residents, I think.
And this don't tell the art
And then-
teachers.
Right, I
Okay.
don't want it to be more pressure for the art teachers.
And maybe we put signs up like they do, and just put them around the neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the
just
art
a
show, there's little
Yeah.
plastic signs
Kids' art show.
instead of.
Okay, so maybe we
advertising.
should include then some signage. I don't know how many we need.
So, sorry, so for this, so we're planning on doing the call for entries now, right? When would you want the signage up?
Once school starts, as a reminder.
Oh,
Kids art
Are you
show,
picturing like
submissions
yard
due.
signs? You want yard signs
sign-
for
I
the,
think the signs make sense.
when you say signs, do you mean yard signs? Do you mean
Yeah, I think we were
Yeah, the little
thinking of
plastic.
those yard signs.
that are in like the right of way?
Yes.
Okay, so that,
Yeah.
we can have those up for a week.
Okay, that's the limit.
That's the
Okay,
limit.
so you put them up for a week and then we put them back up in October or whenever.
Can we do
right before
that?
our
Can we do
deadline?
like a week, put them up for a week in September and then a week in October?
Because I think.
We're also
putting
going to have
them
all
up
the
for-
signs for the city events and the.
Oh, that's true.
All right, let's.
Yeah,
do
we
that.
would just
signs.
have to time it. Yeah, we try and time ours so that they're spaced out for our city events, and we are sensitive to the fact that sometimes folks get a little irritated if there's constantly signs, like
Yes,
competing
and I
signs
agree.
in the
They are an
right of way, 'cause
eyesore.
it becomes visual clutter. So I can check on if we could put them up and then put them back up.
Or do we even think that's necessary?
I think, go ahead. Well, no, I think let's not do the signs. I mean, if they can only be up for a week, it's not, and then you've got 3 months to get something ready.
Yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
gonna
make
take
sense.
longer to.
Yeah.
And you might, I think
And
you guys
let-
had talked about,
Signs and stuff, yeah.
you talked about doing signs for your annual event, so maybe you could try that this year, and then if that goes really well, then we could do signs multiple for different events next year.
We can put it on our Instagram account.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, let's just do it as we did the previous
I mean,
show.
this actually might be a great way to build our Instagram followers, you know, like, because
Yeah.
kids, you know, that's what they do.
Right.
And parents with kids would be hip to, you know, would be in tune with the idea. Parents are not hip at all. No, to the kids, no. Not an inch.
Okay, then let's move on to the prompt. Do we want to do a prompt? How does your family celebrate spring or anything else? I don't remember discussing.
Having
Yeah,
a
the
theme or something.
Spring is tough since the show's in November,
Yeah.
Oh, so,
All right.
but I
How about this village, and
Yeah,
something, anything?
I
don't
do
know.
love the idea of a theme,
Yeah.
village,
The theme.
yeah.
How about seasons, different seasons in the village? Or
Yeah.
like-
Or your favorite thing here, or your.
Yeah, yeah, great things to do, or, yeah. Nice to go in the village, I don't know.
Just what Cherry Hills Village means to you.
Something open-ended like
Yeah,
that. No,
right,
it's
right.
true though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then we won't get questions of it's only landscape, or it's only this, or it
Right.
could be like playing with my dog and, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
but it does keep a little bit of a, so you're not, you know, a little.
Not like getting vacation
Right.
scenes. What's your favorite thing? Mexico. So,
From the 6-year-old.
yeah. Is that okay? What Cherry Hills Village means to you, or your,
Can we think on that? Or
Can we think on that?
We had to decide
How
today.
do you celebrate you?
it's a little esoteric. You want to, we can work on it in the working group a little more, and then we'll come back to you after that. How about that? We're going to have a little working group session right after this, so we'll just hash it out a bit more.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. We're having a lot of things on that working group session now, but that's okay. We'll try and be quick. Yeah.
And also prompt versus title, if we're going to have a title for the show, so that we can put that in the.
Oh, and
crier
prompt
article.
and title.
One or the other, both, what are we doing?
How about just like celebrating Cherry Hills Village children's art or something like that?
For the theme?
Yeah, for the title of the show.
Let's
Yeah,
come up with
yeah.
a theme first, and then,
Okay.
Yeah, and then do the title, yeah.
All righty. Award categories, we have time for that too.
Yes.
So since we're sort of
yeah.
bumping up against time, why don't we
And
push
that's really
that to the
just
next
If
one?
it's something you want, should be in the call of entries, is kind of why I put it there, is a question of if that should be in the call of entry, information in the crier article or not. If it's not important for the call of entries article, that's totally fine. I just wanted to put it in there as if we need that information in order to make up the crier article, wanted to have that.
Okay, so remind me about the date for the crier article. When are we?
So it's the 15th of March for the April issue.
Oh, okay. So do we feel like we need to have it in the March issue, or we could have it in the April issue?
Well, the April issue is the next available,
Okay,
so the deadline for that is March 15th.
okay. So to get it into the April edition, we have to have this information by March 15th.
Okay.
I mean, at a minimum, we could have an award for each age group, but, so why don't we also work on that unless anyone else has
Yeah.
immediate thoughts?
I agree. I mean, what were our categories?
We did best of show, Cherry Hills Village Award, then first, second, and third place, and an honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah,
And People's Choice?
and People's Choice, yeah. That's a lot of awards for each category. So maybe we just do a best of show for each category
Yeah.
Yep.
and an honorable mention,
A best of show for each age group, you mean?
or, yeah, sorry, each group. Said no? Two.
And then an honorable
awards
mention for each age group, yeah.
Because, I mean, you could have only 6 kids, maybe, or, a
True.
small number of kids. And
True. In an age
and there's
group.
only, and there's 6 prizes.
So should we just leave it at that?
Just, I
Yeah.
don't know, if you guys agree? Just
That's fine.
3.
And then-
3.
Done.
Should there be a best in show of all, overall?
Yeah, that could be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe best of show is
One
one
prize.
prize, and then we do first prize and honorable mention.
Yeah.
each
For
age-
each age group.
Age group.
Yeah. I love that.
Again,
And I like the People's Choice Award.
People's Choices.
Two.
Yeah. Or Cherry Hills Village Award. One or maybe
You are the reigning queen of that, aren't you?
Choice. Was the People's
We
Choice
voted on.
kind of difficult to do? Because some people were leaving and, I don't know.
Yeah, Jessica was in charge of that because it was during the
Seemed like it was
reception,
kinda
and it's,
frantic.
we could have done it a little better. We're trying to learn from
Yeah.
each time we do it,
I
you know,
wonder
it
if we
is,
could
it is
put
a
it-
little tricky.
Could you
But, and
put
it's also a little bit of a popularity of contest of who brings the biggest group of family members that night, but.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, so maybe.
Maybe it's something on the Instagram.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
put it on Instagram.
we do a vote on Instagram?
And then we
Like do a
close the
vote through Instagram?
Go
Is
by
that something you can
likes.
do?
Like, yeah, how many hearts or whatever. Well, I don't know. That's complicated.
Maybe we shouldn't have it.
yeah.
Or maybe just Cherry
it's-
Hills Village Award, and that's kind of our People's Choice Award, and we vote.
But the
we
thing is
vote.
that the People's Choice Award involved everybody. So
Oh,
the
I
cherry-
see.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, there's
yeah.
pros and cons to it for sure. I'm not
Right.
saying that I'm.
We can
I'm-
do it for sure, just, yeah.
It
Okay.
did,
Keep in
when you
mind.
did give everybody the little sheet, it did encourage them to go to each
Totally.
True.
Yes,
piece
yeah.
and really look at it
Yeah.
and then say which
Yeah.
one was their favorite.
Yeah.
But
And
I appreciate if it's like too much
For kids.
to
maybe
deal
it's-
with, or maybe it's not great for kids to be voting on their.
Well, and also it's tricky because that one woman brought like 10 people, and then a child
yeah.
could bring all their grandparents and aunts and uncles, and then of course they win.
And I will say that Emily and
Little bit
Pamela,
traumatized.
sorry. Emily and Pamela Broyles, who will be your staff members at that time, are actually much more used to that type of voting situation than Jessica and I were because they run it for the car show every year. So it
Yes.
might actually be easier for them.
So for car show every year, it is always a really lovely mad scramble during the last 15 minutes of car show because we compile all the votes for 3 categories. We did reduce it to 2 last year because it became to be too much.
Too much.
But so we have a pretty good system that we use for car show. So I think doing it in person would be doable. It does happen with car show sometimes too. It can be a little bit of who brought 18 family members.
But at the same point, that's awesome. 18 family members.
we
Well,
want
that's,
people
yeah,
to
so
come.
as long as that's the
Yeah.
understanding amongst the commission, it is workable for,
Yeah, it's like a
for car show
popularity
at
vote.
least.
But that's okay. I mean, if 18 people are here looking at, I think that's
It's better for the
great.
commission,
It's
better for the
yes.
arts.
Right.
For the attendance and
But
everything.
is it an official award if we have all of the others? I mean, what does it add to it other than the
Just
respect-
audience participation.
Popularity.
Audience participation, yeah.
Yeah, that engagement kind of,
Engagement.
yeah, factor
People
that
were
you guys
really
have been
taking it
talking about.
seriously. I mean, they were like looking
Yeah.
at every piece and.
Right.
Were you here? I
Yeah.
was, but I was very much aware that it was heavily stacked for one person.
Or I wonder if you could do Kids' Choice Award, and just have the kids vote.
Have the artists vote?
Yeah, just
But
the
they
kids.
can't vote on their own. You
Can't vote on their own, but they,
know what, that's kind of complicated.
oh, okay.
I think we have our other awards, like we do have an award, an independent, like an award that we choose for each age group. We have an honorable mention, and the People's Choice does get people involved
Okay,
in doing
yeah.
it. And
I
it's-
would encourage, if you're going to do between one or the other, People's Choice or Artist Choice, do People's Choice, because it's actually the category that we eliminated from car show was the car owner's choice, because it becomes, somebody wins by having 2 votes, because everybody, okay, you don't vote for yours, but you're going to vote for your friend. And it just isn't a really,
Yeah.
people's choice gets everybody involved and excited. So I'd encourage you to go with that one.
that it's just a
That's-
funny thing.
Yeah, and there's other independent awards, that's my only thinking, that it's just one, and then there's others.
And then the Cherry Hills Village Award, was that the Commissioner's Award? Was that?
That
we're
was, you
choosing all
guys
the
chose,
other
but
awards
only
anyway, right?
paintings that were done
Well,
in the
yeah, the
village.
independent-
Cherry Hills Village, you guys chose, I think, right?
Yeah,
Cherry
but it was
Hills
only
Village.
for paintings done in the village, so we had to know what the painting was of. in that case.
But then, wasn't there a Commissioner's Award, and we voted for Sarah, wasn't that right?
You guys voted, I think that was the village award, and it was the only ones eligible were the paintings that were done in the village.
There
But you guys did
only
vote on
one
that,
painting
yeah.
of the
Got it.
village. No, just
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
I
But-
have a grandchild on the way, I'm gonna have to learn.
okay, thanks, Anne
You
Marie.
mean like the right this second?
Pretty soon.
Congratulations.
Aw.
So Laura, to wrap up, let's just do one best of show for each age group with an honorable mention, and then the People's Choice is the entire, oh, did I get that wrong?
The best to show is for the, sorry, say that again?
Yeah. Is there just a first prize and an honorable mention for each
Yes,
age group?
Yes, right, and best to show is for one for the whole show.
That the people vote on?
no.
Oh, okay, that's a separate one.
Separate.
So I'm sorry.
So 8 total.
So yes, a first prize and honorable mention for each age group, and we have 3 age groups. And then we have 2 additional awards.
Yep.
The best of show, and then one where we include everybody allowing to vote, which is the People's Choice.
And those cover all age group, I mean, that.
Right, that's
Yeah.
just one
The whole
piece
span,
that
yeah,
everyone
the-
votes on.
yep.
Yeah, one.
Okay,
Okay, sorry, because
Is
we went
that-
around
No,
and
no,
around,
that's
so I wanted
fine.
to summarize to make sure we were all.
that's fine. And do you want that information included in the call for entries article?
I think
Is
so,
that
right?
good or?
Yeah, to get
Yeah?
people
Okay.
excited that there are,
That
you
there
know,
are prizes?
ribbons.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll donate a money award, a monetary award if you want,
Oh,
if you guys want. For best of show, maybe I'll do
Yeah, I mean. or,
Yeah, and it's
you
for
know,
kids, so
Yeah.
something small,
Yeah.
or a gift certificate or something.
10 grand, something small.
Yeah, something like, they're the start of their college fund, you know?
Davis doesn't turn 18 until next year.
Yeah,
and we did say it's residents only, right? The kids have to be residents?
yes, residents,
Only.
residents.
Yep.
I mean, even like an Amazon gift certificate for $50 or something. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
something,
So
you know.
maybe best, okay,
small.
do we need to decide that now? Is that going to be in the
That's
article?
up to you. If you want to put it in the call for entries article, then we should know now. If you don't, then it can be in a later article. I mean, we're going to do multiple articles about it over
Do we
the
have,
months.
do we have a
so.
budget? Because we had big prizes for,
We have a budget for the ribbons and the reception stuff. I don't think we have.
where did the
prizes.
money come from for all this?
I donated.
The whole thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sarah.
No, I'll donate again, and maybe do gift cards to Meiningers or all the art
Yeah, yeah.
shops, something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe, okay, so best to show, maybe $100 to Meiningers,
$100 gift card.
or gift card to
Yeah.
Meiningers, and then $50 for 3 first place, and then honorable mention, just honorable mention.
Yeah,
Ribbon.
Do we need to outline all of that?
that's
on
what,
the
that's what
call?
Laura's asking, so yes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have honorable mention ribbons.
Oh, okay.
So I'll bring this.
Have we decided age groups?
Yeah, we're going to do
Yeah.
3 categories, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and 13 to 18? Is that more or less?
That's good. So, and then People's Choice, $25. How about that?
And
So
is that-
honorable mentions, no monetary prize, no.
Right.
Did you get that, Laura?
Sorry, what did you say?
Okay. So best to show is $100
Mm-hmm.
Meiningers, and then first place, $50 to Meiningers. Honorable mention, just a ribbon.
Okay,
People's
Choice.
Choice,
just the ribbon.
$25.
Oh,
to
$25,
Meiningers.
okay. Okay. For the age categories, is that, in case somebody has a birthday, what, is it like the day of the reception is what determines what age
Have that be the
category they go
cutoff
in?
date? That's just the date of the show?
Yeah.
If you're
Well, and also if they're gonna like gain the system, oh well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if somebody asks, we can decide, you know,
Yeah.
if somebody
Yeah.
sends it.
Yeah, we're not going to be overly
Or when they
strict on that.
submit, or is it just when they submit, they tell us how old they are?
Their name, like Sam, age 5.
Okay,
We'll
and
put
then
them
that's
in the
age.
category.
Perfect,
Yes,
thank
that's
you.
exactly
That's what
right.
it is,
Yes.
like.
Turning 5.
Sorry, my brain gets stuck on these little things.
No, that's brilliant.
Be determined.
No, good question, of course.
It's like flag flipping, I show your birth certificate.
Okay.
And in this case, since kids are kids, should we just let them take their art home after the reception? Or do we want to ask them if we can have it for just a week rather than for months and months? Or what do you guys think?
Let them take it home.
Just take it home after
I
the
think
show.
so, and then.
Yeah, let
just
it
be
decide
done.
the next,
And we'll just put-
Yeah.
Duke's
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah,
meeting
right.
back where they belong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because all the parents will have seen it, it'll be a thing, it's exciting, and then
And then they
they
can take it home with their
like,
ribbon, and
yeah.
I agree.
Right.
And then the parents don't have an extra
We don't
trip
have to
back
worry,
into
yeah.
town
And
to
then we
pick
don't
up
have
the
to
art.
manage it.
We don't have to manage it, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So it will not be for sale, and it will not hang for 6 months. We'll just take it home at the end of the night. Who will evaluate the submissions for inclusion in the show? The commission?
Sure.
Who will pick the awards? The commission, except for People's Award, which we're going to let people vote on. And Emily is kindly going to manage with Pamela.
So
We'll
if-
help you. We're all here at the show, so we're not going to just leave you alone there. Will there be a point person on the commission? Is that for like questions?
For
Or-
questions that staff has in between meetings, in between
Uh-huh.
commission meetings, if there's just one person on the commission that we can ask.
I can do that.
Do you mind again?
No, I'll do
Sarah's
that.
kind of our art show specialist at this point, so. There's not too many questions, hopefully, with the
I
kids.
know how to hang it. Della.
I'll help you.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's Dave and I, that's
Yeah,
our-
right.
our elf.
The expertise.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same question as the next one, so Sarah
Okay.
will work with.
And we decided we're not going to contact the schools because it is just a residence thing, and so that does exclude some
Right.
people. And
Yeah.
who will help the staff plan the reception? I mean, I'm happy.
Sarah did a great job last time, but I know it was a lot, so if.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
doing
no,
that
if
again.
she's,
Yeah,
if she's
that
being the
was
point
easy. Yeah.
person, I'm happy to help, maybe one other person. You want to join me in planning the reception?
Okay, thank you guys so much. That was a lot of stuff to
No.
go over, but we have a lot of
No
good
volunteers
information
on
now.
that one. Okay, I'll get you guys for the annual event. So I am not going to handle that one alone this year.
I'm on the installation committee.
That's true. That's true. If Della and Dave help with it, well, you won't be here because it's after May. And we'll have to talk about that. But we have a couple of commissioners who
I'll help you. I'm
are stepping up.
helping.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Go? Dave can't go.
Yes. We'll save that till the end, but we
Yeah.
can talk about that because we
Yeah.
do need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Financial update, I don't know if there's much to really,
Yeah, there's nothing
It's
much has
the same,
happened this
right?
year yet. so
okay.
I think that's it. Oh, this is for the work session. So yeah,
Okay.
we can go just to reports.
So, yeah, what else do we have? So I guess we can put on for the next meeting that we do have a couple of retirements from the commission. And so we'll have, what, two open positions?
I think just Shenley is leaving.
Oh, when does
And-
Dave's term expire, though, didn't you
Not
say?
till next
End of May,
year.
I'm not gonna return. It's hard to do this daytime thing.
Right. So she's retiring by end of May, and Dave, you're just finishing your term, right? Or did I
David-
misunderstand?
Then mine should be
I
up
can,
too,
but
right?
I don't want to,
Didn't you and I do
you know, if you have a
I
couple
think
of
Anne
gals
Marie and I
that
started at the
know
same
that
time, and I started as a half, I don't know.
Right.
I'd be
Yeah.
willing to
Bridge a gap for a
yeah,
little
retire early.
early or otherwise.
Well, so Dave, your term doesn't end until next year.
Oh, okay. I
What?
misunderstood.
Your term doesn't end until next year.
I'm not sure when it does.
That list
That's
that I
what-
sent the both of you, it was not till next year. Here, I
Yeah.
can find that again.
But I'm
Sorry,
willing
Dave.
to.
But yeah, if
I'm
we have
willing
someone who
to-
wants to
yeah,
jump on,
yeah,
Dave
for
would be,
sure.
like if we have two good candidates.
Yeah, if anyone
it's
knows of anyone
flexible.
who's interested, the website has the application. Just have them send, or I can email it to you. Let me know.
But wait, so let me just understand, do you want to or not? Or, I mean, I don't
No,
like the idea.
I'm willing to give up my position.
I know, but I feel like you offer so much historical you're invaluable. You
No,
are.
I'm not. You'll find that out if
You
someone
are,
else is
Dave.
here.
I know, but if we have 2 new people, and they can wait a year, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
If this
You
is
know,
just if you want to, I think is
Yeah,
my
I mean,
opinion.
I'm very willing to.
Either
almost
finish the
20
term or-
years
yeah.
of Time in the village to.
I know, that's
so,
why
but-
you need to stay.
Okay, so anyway, we don't want to pressure anybody, but just so we know that we do have one opening
do
for
have the
sure.
option, so-
And,
Yeah.
and Dave's term finishes next year, and he has served the village for many, many years, so we respect his decision if he's ready to, we'll just see how that all works out. Okay. All right. So does anyone have anything further to report? No? Okay. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned.